Howdy Daydreamer, I'm Dakota, and today we're going to be checking out the Bedside Garden, episode 19. And this week I'm going to start by just finally staking this mango melon, because I just haven't gotten around to it yet, and I have some bamboo skewers that I'm just going to try sticking in by it and getting it to grab onto. See, the key word here is trying, because today I learned you can encourage the tendrils towards something, you can help them, you can guide them, but the plant will make up its own mind, and trying to stake a plant by its own tendrils is a great way to find out exactly how much sass a vegetable plant or a fruit plant can contain. Now, the way the longer tendrils have kind of corkscrewed themselves, it reminds me of kind of an old phone cord. So I'm trying to just pull that out tiny bit and loop it around the skewer to get it to grab on. But it does very much seem to be a situation of getting one part to hold on and then moving to the next part and the previous part just popping off. So I'm mainly just trying to encourage the plant and let it know it has two options of places to grab onto, but not really stressing if it doesn't want to right now. Or at least trying not to stress too much, because after all, this is the first plant I'm trying to stake, and the tendrils won't cooperate with me. But also, a plant is alive, so it probably has its own idea about how this is going. From the plant's perspective, it was just sitting here, chilling, relaxing, reaching for the light, and I'm over here messing with it all in its leaves and stems. So it's probably not really appreciating all of that rough handling and attention. So I think for now I'm just gonna tap the tendrils to the skewers and then do my best to leave it alone for a little while and let it chill out again and maybe try again later. While I was messing with the mango melon, I think I bent my giant onion because it is leaning over the pot very floppy now. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and trim those while I'm over here. It looks like I may have accidentally pinched them against the rim of the pot while I was trying to turn it at some point, but it's okay because I'm just gonna clip them a little bit above where they're bent at so that it's not worried about healing that, it can just keep growing. There's even one piece that looks like it's come into contact with the soil for too long and started to break down. So I'm gonna go ahead and clip that off too. And then I'm gonna trim the other one down as well, just so that they're both able to hold themselves upright again. And the clippers I'm using are actually from my knitting kit that I showed in Weaving Wands episode 1. And while I have the clips out, I think I'm gonna go ahead and trim up the marigold because while the thyme is growing really well under it, I don't think the leaves inside of the marigold are able to get light anymore from how thick it's gotten. And I can practice tree trimming style methods on a flower that grows back a lot faster than a tree. So just in case I get something incorrect and hurt the plant, I can grow another one and try again a lot faster. The first thing I'm pretty sure I want to do with pruning is come in and get the spent flowers off of it. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this one because all of the petals are pretty crumbly and they don't open or close right anymore. And the other three flowers still look really nice, so I'm gonna leave them for now and start feeling through the plant to see where the leaf branches are crossing over each other or pressing against each other or blocking light. And I'm just going to try to pick out and feel where there's weak branches as well that I can pull out. And it's really difficult because I can't actually see into this bush at all anymore. But it does get easier to sort out which branches are strong enough to leave on and which branches need to come off the more I mess with it, because the weaker branches just immediately break or flip down, while the stronger branches are still holding themselves up, pointed at the light like they should be. And from there, it's mainly just following the flower stems that are up, down, to find where branches are crossing them or leaves are tucked up under them that just haven't been getting light. And it's honestly really fascinating to see how much plant is folded up inside of here. Because while it is definitely a marigold, the way the leaves are kind of curled in on each other inside of it really reminds me of a lettuce. And I kind of find that fascinating because, like, who knew that if a flower's just left to its own devices unpruned for long enough, the inside of it starts to sort of lettuce in on itself, iceberg style. And I think that's pretty cool, but also a little concerning. And I think I'm gonna try to prune it at least once a week. A, because of the chunks of leaves that look like they've never seen light before somehow. And B, because honestly, the clippings and trimmings of marigold scattered on the soil has seemed to be more effective to me than the flying insect trap I got from the store. Because after I trim the marigold, I don't see any of the little gnats or bugs or anything for a bit, but the other thing doesn't really seem to have an effect on them yet. And I think this is the biggest piece I found that wasn't even connected to anything inside of the plant. It was just laying on top of some of the other leaves inside of it, not connected to anything. And it's already a lot more easy to move the leaves around. Like, there's so much less resistance on them than there was when I started. And I don't want to shock the plant, so I think I'm just going to grab the last few little pieces that are loose and let it rest. And it looks like this piece has been loose for a really long time. So I'm just gonna feel through all of the branches a couple more times and see if there's anywhere that sticks or snags or has any more pretty old sticks tucked into it, honestly. Because that's not even a leaf anymore, really. But that happens when you're learning how fast a new type of plant can grow. Sometimes it grows faster and thicker than expected, and you end up finding some interestingly shaded sticks when you try trimming it. And I'm starting to notice that the shape of marigold leaves makes them interlock together if they meet at the tip sometimes. And you have to kind of wiggle them apart and then pick the branch you want to keep from them. But in this case, one of them snapped and the other didn't, so it's a pretty easy choice that time. Sometimes it can be tougher because they'll both have a flower that's pretty close to opening on the other side of them, and it's a little bit challenging to figure out, do you want to clip one flower? Do you want to clip two flowers? But ultimately, I try to trim it into the shape that makes me smile when I look over at it. And I think that's quite a lot of leaf matter off of it for one trim. So I'm just gonna scatter this over the rest of the pots and we'll check out the hydroponics. This lettuce is still looking great, and I'm getting really excited because it's almost big enough to start pulling a little bit of baby greens off of. And I'm very excited to try it. And the Swiss chard is looking so bright, especially next to the other lettuce, which still hasn't really taken off yet, but it's still trying. And this Cherokee purple tomato is still growing crooked, but it's growing and it's getting a really fuzzy little green leaf on it, so that's a good sign. And the second one is still a stick, but it's still a taller stick than it was yesterday each day, so that's good. Now it's just time to be patient while these seeds germinate, and I'm pretty sure the first ones are gonna be the cucumbers and the tiny Tims, because they already have pretty nice roots on them. But while we wait to see for sure, let's check out Catalog of the Week. And this week it's Brex, bringing bulbs direct from Holland since 1818. That is a long time to be in a gardening business, or any business really. And honestly, it's only been seed companies that I've heard of being in business for that long. It's pretty cool. Let's check it out. They open up to a page of how to shop this catalog and explain that they're a little bit different. They only have phone orders and online orders, but they still make the catalogs so you can shop them and have them to flip through and look at and hold up next to your garden with a picture of that plant to see if it fits just right. And I think that's really cool. But the first plant that really caught my eye in this one was the giant Dutch dinner plate dahlias. Because just wow, that orange one with the white tips, that would be really exciting to see at the opening of a walkway or something, like around a gazebo or something. I like the daydreams I'm getting with it, and I could think of some ideas to landscape with that one for sure. But then there was the Black Joker Siberian Iris. And again, I can't really think of anything to say but wow. The way the purple is streaked with the orange, and the orange goes around the edges of all the petals, and it's got the light purple periwinkle on the inside of the new petals, and that would be a fun flower to watch. I'm curious to know what birds and bugs come around those as well. That looks like it would have hummingbirds on it to me. I don't know why. I think it's just the colors. Brex also has some really cute garden decor, including this thirsty kitty statue, where the bowl that the cat's drinking from is meant to be a birdseed dish, so you can see which of your birds are brave enough to eat from a cat dish. It sounds like it would be comical to watch various critters try to distract the cats for the seed, at least. I don't know. I can't decide if this feels mean to the woodland creatures or hilarious, and I think two things can be true. And then they have these gorgeous Gloriosa lilies that look windblown or upside down or something, and how bright red and yellow they are with the streaks going around the petals. They kind of look like little fires to me. They even have a couple of herbal flowers, like this bee balm mixture and this raspberry splash lungwort, which I haven't done a whole ton of research on, but I have researched enough to know I want to research more, if that makes sense. And it's a very, very beautiful flowering variety. I would have to do some more research to see if it still has the medicinal properties or if this one's just kind of been bred for show. But with what longwort is, I would think even if it is a flashy variety, it would probably still be functional. This is one I'm gonna research for a while after sharing. I'll let y'all know when I find some more information about it. And then they have a plum perfect reblooming daylily, which is a variety of the lilies that open and close more consistently and for a lot longer than the standard lilies. But Brex surprised me with their globe artichoke because I don't think I've ever seen an artichoke in bloom before, and I didn't know they were purple tassely, almost thistle-looking flowers. And I thought it was really cool and pretty. But then Brex taught me that an old flat-fashioned bleeding heart is a tree. It is a tree and they are called bleeding hearts because of the shape of, I don't know if that's a flower or a leaf or a fruit, because it kind of looks like all three. But, but it's like a willow type tree. That's what a bleeding heart is. And I'm really interested to know like the word origins, like which came first, the phrase bleeding heart or the tree being named that. And if anyone has any idea or knows where to learn stuff like that, let me know in the comments, please. And then they kept it going with interesting varieties of lilies because they have this Samantha rose lily. Now, apparently, rose lilies are fragrant lilies without pollen, so they don't aggravate allergies. And I'm wondering if they may even be a little bit less toxic to some critters that are uh, more than allergic to the pollen. But that's something that'll need more research. And again, I'll let y'all know if I find anything out first. And then towards the end, they have this Moonlight Garden variety pack that's about 8 different varieties of flowers that are white blooms that catch moonlight and open at night. And that would be gorgeous around a gazebo, I think. I'm probably going to do that someday for sure, because those are very pretty flowers. And if you'd like to grab your own copy of the Brex catalog for your garden daydreams, the link will be down below in the description. But for now, let's see what's going on with those seeds. So there are about 3 to 5 seeds that are definitely ready to go into sponges. But when I moved the covers to put the little baskets in, I noticed the water looked a little strange. So I put some peroxide on it, and it fizzed a lot. So I'm gonna change the water in this real quick and clean it out. Alright, so it's got fresh water. I saved the plants, and I think what happened was when the fertilizer was damp, I think I overfed it. So I just put the tiniest little bit in, and I can add more if the plants look hungry. I can't take it out if it starts to grow too much in the water. And while I was cleaning all that up, I went ahead and rinsed the sponges with the peroxide just to make sure they don't have anything microscopic hiding on them. And I have a cucumber seed or a cucumber that's already all of the way out of the seed, but it's kind of curled into a bean shape. So I'm just going to try to wiggle that into the sponge as best I can. And then the second cucumber also has a root, but it's longer and better angled towards down, so it'll be easier to nest into the sponge. It still has a seed holding on to it pretty firmly, but with how well angled the root is, I think it might be okay to grow out of that and let it go on its own, hopefully. And then it looks like there's two of the tiny Tem tomatoes that are ready to move into the hydroponics. So I'm gonna try to pick out the ones that have the longest roots because their seeds are so tiny. I'm not really confident I could actually get them out of the seed without breaking the root because they're very, very little. It's like a little thread of root. But hopefully they keep growing and I can get some teeny tiny cherry tomatoes growing up by the lettuce. Now, if these do grow really well with the Cherokee tomatoes, I will have to grow more later of both to save seeds from, just to make sure I'm not getting cross-pollinated seeds. But if I do have a good seed one come up, I might take a little bag for cross-pollinated seeds just to see what happens. And then this last one, I'm not quite sure which it is because I've gotten the coleus and the majorum seeds mixed up 2 or 3 times now. So it's one of the two for sure. And it's very, very tiny, and I can't quite grip it at all. It's all the way out of the seed. And there's a little teeny thread of root and a little teeny ball of green on the top of it. But I just can't grab it. There's only about 4 seeds in here, and they're very little. So I think I'm just gonna try to pour it in and see if I can get it that way. Nope, that didn't work. They are too small. All of the seeds and the little plant are still stuck to the side of the cup. So I'm just gonna gently slide my finger around the edge of the cup until I can grip it a little, and then try to pick it up that way so I don't break it. And I honestly don't know how I didn't break this one because it is so little. I honestly think I've seen thicker sewing thread than this root. It's gonna grow, but it is tiny now. So I'm gonna get that into the last sponge, and then I'm not sure if I should add the rest of the seeds to it, but I think I'm just gonna add more water to them for now. And then water in all of those brand new hydroponic seedlings while I have the sprayer out. And go ahead and get them capped over so that they can hold in humidity and keep growing and get bigger and make some food. And now it's one step closer to being an actual food garden. It's getting there. It just takes time and patience and a lot of tries and attempts because the first few dozen are going to be finding ways it doesn't work until you find the one that does for you. Also, y'all remember how I just trimmed these onions? You wouldn't think so. Doesn't look like it. I mean, they're standing up better this time, but they have gotten long fast again. Like, I honestly looked over quickly and thought I had forgotten to trim them until I saw the trimmings laying beside them, almost the same length or maybe even shorter than they are now. And this week I learned that when you stake something, you need to keep an eye on where its leaves are growing over the next few days, weeks. Because if the leaf grows into the stake, and I did manage to catch this before it went up to the plant, it'll do the same thing it'll do if it goes onto the ground and start breaking down. And this leaf is already like gone all along the edge. So when the leaves are like that, I just pull them off and return them to the soil so I can try again. And keep learning, keep growing, and keep trying. Because eventually I'll figure out the way that works for me. And we all can. But now it's time to check out the Flowers Everlasting Spotlight for Flowers Everlasting 2025. My challenge to everyone to capture a temporary flower and the memory that goes with it and share it with all of us. And the Honorable Mention Spotlight, where I'll share flowers that I've seen growing around YouTube gardens over the last week. And honestly, I haven't really been in the YouTube gardens much this last week, and I haven't seen any tags or calls to check anything out yet. So I'm gonna try to have a couple of flowers by this time next week to share with everyone. Because I've been staying in my head a little bit too much, and I need to get out and check out these plants. Thank you for dreaming with me. As always, I appreciate everyone that has come along on this journey and seen how I'm learning and growing, offering advice along the way. A lot of people have sent seeds to help me get started, and it's deeply appreciated. But the most appreciated thing is when you drop into the comments and say hello and let me know that you appreciate me coming on and sharing. And it helps heal a feedback loop in my brain. So thank everybody, and until next time, take care of yourself and keep your head in the clouds.